you look up on the mountain up there, you'll see the same kind of columns. So the whole thing tends to lean a bit this way. Those columns would have been vertical when they first cracked. And so if you take the trail from across from the Notch Visitor Center and climb up to the top of Bear Mountain up there on the Element Trail, we'll go past the base of that face, and there is material that's a lot like this. It's chunks about yay big that are all sort of faceted, just because that stuff deteriorates and breaks away sort of geometrical shapes. That's called talus, T-A-L-U-S, and so there's this large talus slope. You go up there and you think, oh, they've been maintaining the trail. Somebody climbed up here with several hundred tons of gravel. So it's like as we talked about with the erosion at Mount Sugarloaf, it's due to the water getting into the cracks, freezing, expanding. And the other thing to note is if you look over here on the far side, you'll see there's a different kind of rock. It's not dark, it's actually fairly light. It also has layers, but the layers are sloping this way instead of having columns that are tilted. The columns are tilted to a similar slope, so we know that they both tilted after they were laid down. Right? They tilted the same angle. So at some point after they were laid down, the columns vertical was flat, they were both tilted together. But that's sandstone over there. That sandstone, my understanding is that there are in some areas in the range where that sandstone is, and then the one thing that we don't have here is there used to be some very sort of rounded stones those rounded, like basalt bubbles, are called pillow basalts. And what happens is when the lava comes out into water, it cools very rapidly, just like candy. When you take candy at just the right temperature and you drop it into water, it forms a ball. So does the lava, and so it forms these ball-shaped boulders of basalt called pillow basalts. And they're kind of hard as pillows, but
wait, what did the lava do?
It came out into water, and just like candy reaches the ball stage, it's a temperature where a sugar-based candy will cool and form a ball naturally. It's the same idea. So we have this between the sandstone with the fish fossils and the pillow basalts. There's fairly strong evidence that the lava here actually initially began coming out underwater. Right, so it was a submarine volcano. And some of it may have actually gotten up above the surface. And then in addition to the nice lavas here, and these lavas, of course, the basalts, as I mentioned, they're on the end of the scale that's rich in iron and magnesium, so they have a low melting point. So that means they're a runny lava. We say that kind of lava is mafic. That's M-A-F-I-C, right? Which means magnesium and iron. M-A-F-F-I is abbreviation for ferrous. Mafic, magnesium and iron rich. Those mafic lavas are very runny. They're the ones like you see in the volcanoes in Hawaii with the lava running down the sides of the mountain. In South Hadley, we have a mineral or rock called tuff, which is made from compressed volcanic ash. It's a lighter color. It's very silica rich. It's down on the rhyolite end of the scale. So it's rich in silica. Those are called felsic, F-E-L-S-I-C.
Wait, F-E-L?
F-E-L-S-I-C, meaning they have feldspar and silicon in them. That gives them a higher melting point, which means that they come out more like chunks. So they tend to cool before they get to the surface, and they blow out like popcorn. Sometimes, house-sized blocks of popcorn, but nonetheless popcorn. And they get blown out in chunks, and there are a bunch of those chunks, boulders of this stuff down in South Hadley, as well as a layer of this silica-rich ash called tuff. So we know that at some point in the history of this volcano, there was also this phase of erupting with the higher melting point material. But the bulk of it is the low melting point mafic lava. And and so the so as I yes, Yana? Talus is the debris that forms when that kind of rock cracks as a result of the ice. It forms these little coarse gravel. So
there's some very chunky talus over there.
So that's about the same time as Mount Sugarloaf was being deposited. Remember, it was 190 to 220 million years. So north, we were getting the red Arcos, and here we were getting, which was coming down from the mountains that were to the west. And here we're getting more of the typical sandy colored sandstone. So this was up there. That was a valley where there were rivers coming in and depositing flats. Here we had more of a seashore, right? So this was a bit of an inland sea, and the lava came out in that context of the sand from the sea bringing the sand in. So. And then, of course, the dinosaur footprints are about 10 to 20 million years after this. So these mountains were already 10 to 20 million years old when the dinosaurs walked through here. All right. And as I mentioned before, the eruption occurred because as Africa tore away from North America, it first began to rip apart here, created a rift valley that was about 4,000 feet deep, which was deep enough to open up to the mantle underneath and
4,000 what?
4,000 feet deep. So it was deep enough to open up and allow magma to come out of the interior of the Earth. And then when Africa started to pull away, Africa and North America pivoted a little bit. They didn't just pull away neatly. They started to pull away, and then they turned, and in that turning motion, it recompressed here, and it squeezed this up and tilted it. So this all began down much lower, and then was squeezed up above the surface. So that's why it stands up and has this tilt to the south. It's because of that rough